it's funny, if anybody, I really shouldn't be surprised. I mean, the thesis of the conservative soul was that essentially the Republican Party had been taken over by Christianists and theocons. And no one represents the total collapse of any idea of secular society more profoundly than Rick Santorum. And that's why a chapter of that book is devoted in part to his own book, It Takes a Family, and the radical attack on modern freedom that he represents. I'm just surprised because he's so extreme and so obviously unable to project a calm or unifying presence, and is so relentlessly fixated on social issues in a year of where the economy is obviously the driving question, that I just didn't think they'd be that crazy to make him this successful. But I think in the end, the more I think about it, the more I realize if my analysis is correct, that the Republican Party is a fundamentalist religious organization, essentially. That's what it is at its heart, and has a radical reinterpretation of America through those lines, then presumably the candidate that should win would represent that. And essentially, they've been trying them all out. And Santorum really genuinely does believe that stuff. And they smell, I think, his sincerity. They also can smell Mitt Romney's utter insincerity. And I think they realize that Gingrich is just very hard to swallow. And Ron Paul really is the future of the Republican Party, not its present. So in some ways, by process of elimination, you end up with Santorum. But it's still hard to imagine him as the nominee. But at this point, I don't know. I think it's easy to think of Romney as the nominee. But again, one wonders whether that's simply because we've told ourselves that. I do think that if Romney loses in Michigan, it's over. I really do. I think that a Romney loss in Michigan would be devastating psychologically to him. And I don't think at that point they'll be able to get it back from Santorum. So a lot rides on this next week.